Folks, welcome and good evening. This is the Red Hook Town Board meeting of Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. May I ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're getting started a little bit late this evening. Technology hasn't been cooperating as much as we would like, but important that we continue what we've been doing now for, boy, I think 8 years, which is integrating with the smart screen here, making sure that the folks at home know what's on the agenda. If you'd be kind enough to pan over to it. Now that I've finally got it to cooperate. We have tonight, we're back with the agreement with Archtop Fiber. We are looking at executing an agreement, extending the agreement with our water monitor services, water district, C3ND Environmental Consulting, a successful bidder. We have a resolution to set a public hearing on the fire contracts. Every 2 years we have contracts with both fire companies. We have a resolution to establish a date for a public hearing regarding the adoption of local law D, which relates to zoning. If you were with us at our last meeting, we spoke about how we would be putting in place the necessary updated zoning as it relates to the two other topics that are covered by the moratorium, the wetlands, which New York State DEC is updating, and the agricultural business district. And so we have a proposed local law D, which we'll set a public hearing for next month on to receive some input. We have a resolution establishing lead agency for that as well. We're going to update our smoking regulations. As you know, we've established quite a few trails, and we were talking about updating them to include public access lands, not just lands that we own, and not just the campus here. And lo and behold, it ended up being quite timely because we did have a brush fire just off of the Saltville Trail, which is lands we don't own, but we have a public access to. So we'll be tackling that as well. Second meeting of the month, so we'll be looking at all the department, board, and committee reports. With that being said, we've got some announcements. Hudson River Housing would like to spread the word. There's funding available for repair and reimbursement for repairs. 1 to 4 family homes that were damaged by Hurricane Ida, which was 3 years ago. There's federal money that's been appropriated for New York State areas that were hit. And if you are interested, please contact Hudson River Housing. Here's contact information up there. HCR, again, IDOT Homeowner Repair and Reimbursement Program. And it's reimbursement for the cost of repairs paid for prior to June of 2023, and grants to repair remaining damage caused by the storm. Okay.
One quick announcement I'd like to make. To remind the public that it's open hunting season. It started last 16th and goes till December the 8th. Our local residents who hunt know their way around, but we do attract a lot of people not from the area who may get disoriented and not know their way around. So if you walk in the woods, wear something that hunters and others can see. And if you're walking your dog in the woods, I would recommend you keep them on a leash, or I have something like this for my dog because my dog is colored like a deer. So it's just a good time to be cautious. Just
safety reminder. That's a good idea.
So,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Shots rang out today, that's for sure.
Oh, I've been hearing them.
Shotgun season. Okay, we're moving into, believe it or not, finally, I know it's mid-November, but cold season, wet season. And so if you want to find out more about whether or not you are eligible for some assistance with heating costs, there are programs available through New York State. The HEAT program, you can reach out to New York State directly if you'd like. And again, as a disclaimer, I would also, if you'd like to go in person, we're very fortunate here in Red Hook to have a Dutchess County Community Action Partnership site here on East Market Street. It's open 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I happen to sit on the board of that this year. They have great efforts to connect residents with services that they may be able to take advantage of assistance, and HEAP is one of those programs that's been in existence in New York State now for decades. Any other announcements? No. Okay. Thanksgiving is coming up. The community dinner happens at the firehouse each year. We thank Patty Bowman and all the folks assisting her with that effort. I don't know exactly what the times are of that, but we'll send out a notice on that as well. All right, do we have any public comments anybody wants to make public, or shall we dive right on in? I think we're going to dive right on in. Okay, we have a slightly revised, we have Tom Weckesser, did I pronounce that correctly, Tom?
Yes.
Thank you. From Archtop Fiber with us. If you joined us at our last meeting, we were looking at draft agreement. There have been a couple of add-ons there, Tom, based upon some of the feedback we got from you and Sean and some of the comments we had. So we included some language in there. We want to make sure everybody gets this opportunity in our community. Everybody as of the date of this contract, obviously. You know, what happens after that, you know, is a matter of, you know, of your business plan. But at least for now, we want to make sure that you're able to provide service to everyone that was on that map. And there is a map attached to this agreement as well. And I don't believe that we had many more changes. We've discussed with you a utility permit, and I think that is almost finished, if not finished,
yes,
and available for you.
Okay.
Okay, we gave you, I think 6D here is page 3. You gave us an estimated timeline. We're now looking at a little over 2 years. We would ask you to bring fiber to all the properties that you've indicated you intend to bring fiber to. Any questions? Council members? Okay. Well, if there are any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none. We have, Deanna, I believe, resolution number 113. Authorizing agreement. Let's put another E in there. With Archtop Fiber LLC. And copy of the agreement is available at the town clerk's office and has been available on the town website. Who would like to move resolution number 113?
So moved.
Thank you, Christine. Is there a second? Thank you, Jacob. All in favor? William?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. Tom? Pretty short and sweet.
Thank you very much.
Get to work.
Really appreciate it. Yep, we'll reach out to Teresa and see where we are on that permit, and we'll get get going.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good evening.
Have a
Have a
good
good evening.
Thanksgiving.
and Yes, you too. Thank you.
Okay, for the folks at home, here's the map that I was referring to. If you want to find out if your neighborhood or your property is being serviced. And they did provide us at the last meeting with some very specific maps in different neighborhoods that they're going to get started with that makes sense, that they're going to go to the dense populations first, households, and but we want to make sure that everybody, in fact, broadband is a rural issue, not a suburban issue. Okay, we're moving right along. Resolution we have, number 114. This is just an agreement for a water system operator. It's the same firm, C3ND Environmental Consulting. Monthly fee of $2,300, effective January 1, 2025. And this agreement has 3 additional 1-year terms. So it's 3 years with 3 single-year options at this monthly fee of $2,300. So that's why there was a jump up from the last agreement, which was for many years without an increase. Okay, I think they went out to get a request for quotes,
Yeah.
or they did a full RFP on this one.
Yeah.
And they were the only ones who bid on.
Mhm.
Okay. Very good. 114, this relates to water bill. I wonder who wants to move this
I'll
resolution.
move Resolution 114.
Is there a second?
Second.
Sorry.
You got it?
Thank you, Kristen. All in favor? Jacob?
Aye.
Myself? Aye. Okay. All of the submittals related to that. Okay, so we have our 2 fire protection district service agreements. Town of Red Hook with Red Hook Fire and the village, between the town of Red Hook and the village of Tivoli. With 1 resolution, 2 separate agreements. The numbers are based upon the budget that was adopted last month and a 2% increase for 2026. And that number could change. But since it's a 2-year agreement, we have to put some numbers in there for 2026. Any questions? It's the same agreement we've been looking at every 2 years.
Seems pretty straightforward.
All right. This would be resolution number 115. And having spent some time with that brush fire with both fire companies who responded, and by the way, that fire reignited the following day.
The grass over Rec Park West is like dry.
Dry.
It is like crunchy if you
Oh.
want it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
So
It's-
definitely,
it's it's
reiterating what we talked about in
Right.
terms of.
Tonight's rain is going to be a welcome. And for the folks at home, if you're watching and you're wondering when the burn ban is going to be released, you know that the governor issued it until the end of the month, November 30th. It supersedes, so even if I were to remove the burn here in Red Hook, it supersedes that. So we'll wait and find out what the governor's going to do. We'll wait and see how much rain we get in the next 36 hours. And we'll take it from there on the burn ban. But suffice it to say, oftentimes one rain does not do the trick.
We are so dry.
Yeah.
It's not gonna do it.
Okay, so I apologize, I went off on a tangent there. Resolution 115, this would be establishing the date for the public hearing, so that obviously we would want to do on December 10th. Once again, I think we're running out of times on December 10th, but I think we have 7:50 open. Let's do 7:50.
Yes.
Okay. Fire districts, public hearing, concurrent. And I so move.
I'll second that.
Thank you, William. All in favor? Jacob?
Aye.
Christine?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we have that also on the 10th. We're going to have a very long meeting on the 10th. Bring coffee. Okay. Moving right along. Okay, so local law D. For the folks at home, maybe just a brief summary of updates to the local law. And this would again be establishing a date for the public hearing, but just sort of highlights of the law, and we encourage you to take a look at it. And I would recommend, since we're talking about changes in density, as we mentioned from the beginning, that we refer this to the Ag and Open Space Committee for their input. So a couple of changes. The language of the law basically says that applications will be subject to the new, or existing, we should really say, because they will be new as of January 1st, New York State DEC freshwater wetlands regulations. It also says that we have contemplated or are contemplating changing the allowable density subdividable on farmlands that are not currently under easement. There's a limited development option that would allow for 1 per 10 acres. That's not consistent with preserving farmland. That tool is weak at this point. As we explained early on, we are prepared, willing, and have the tools in place to go ahead and purchase farms, and certainly we have demonstrated over the last 2 decades that we are more than willing to purchase conservation easements, but we may not always be in a position to purchase a farm and go through the rather extensive work that was necessary to go through on the Cookingham Farm project. While it's going to have, and is having already, wonderful outcomes, it is a lot more than we would ordinarily want to be getting ourselves into. And so with any zoning, it needs to correspond with our comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan is unequivocal and says that our zoning should be protective of farmland. And so by allowing a limited development option, 1 per 10 acres, for example, I think it's American Farmland Trust who says that you should have, nothing more dense than 1 per 40 acres if you're going to maintain an agricultural community. And so that's what the proposal is on a limited development option. Now, concurrently, we are upping, if they put their farmlands in a conservation easement, we are upping the potential number of homes that could be in the envelope. When you put your farm in an easement, you're allowed a couple of acres where you can have not only a home for yourself, but a home for your child if the farm family grows, if you will. And so under the current regulations, you are allowed just 1 dwelling unit, which ironically is less than you would be allowed in an R3 zone. Just 1 dwelling unit if you put your land 40 acres or less in a conservation easement in that envelope. 40 to 80 acres under the current regs, you're allowed 2. 80 to 120, or 80 or more, I should say, you're allowed 3 in the envelope. So we are proposing to up that to 2 3, and 4. So that at bare minimum, somebody who puts even a small or medium-sized farm into conservation easement would be at least allowed a couple of dwelling units within that very tight pocket. And oftentimes, when you work with the land trust, they develop that pocket around existing development where there already is a house or already are barns. It's not scattered around the property for obvious reasons. So that is sort of in a nutshell the changes for the agricultural business district. There are some, one other thing in the ABD, when we did our short-term rentals, we allowed for a limited amount of STR days in the residential districts, but we only allowed the farm stay option, which is limited to those farms that have agricultural activities that people can participate in. We didn't allow even the most minimum of opportunity for short-term rentals in the other ABD parcels. So this proposes to change that so they are at least allowed that much opportunity, the same as an R3 would be allowed. There are changes to the use tables. One of the things that we are addressing in this zoning, for those of you who have been following over the years, the oil tankers, you know, there was a threat there once and now twice of potentially docking in the Hudson River in other locations that are already not established. That is not something consistent with our LWRP. And so we are looking at removing things like marinas, which would provide an opportunity for oil tankers or other ships to dock there. We're now clarifying language. We do have a boat club there and boat ramps, so we're clarifying the language there, what's allowable in the waterfront conservation districts. Let's see, some other highlights there. I think we've covered the ABD stuff. Clarifying language in the traditional neighborhood district. As you know, we've created this district because we want a walkable community, primarily retail downstairs, office space either behind or upstairs. That's in the existing regulations right now. We just have clarifying language there. And then cannabis, we didn't have any regulations as it pertains to cannabis. We already have, I think, 2 permitted dispensaries, one in the town, one in the village. At this point, it would, you know, it's more than appropriate that we establish some regulations for any future businesses wanting to come into the community, and so there's language relating to that. I think I covered most of the topics there. Oh, and then importantly, non-conforming uses. So we've had for generations in our code, when a property is non-conforming, that it can move to another type of non-conforming use, regardless of what that use may or may not be, as long as it can be demonstrated that it's not much more intensive, which of course is a very abstract term for folks to interpret. And so we really think that's not appropriate if we're trying to A, protect the community against something that may not be desirable, and B, to ultimately have these properties conform to the current zoning. If we allow them to be non-conforming forever, then that's what they will be. So this proposes to change that language, and if somebody wanted to have another non-conforming use, they would have to go obviously in front of the ZBA and ask for a variance for that. So that's the summation of local law D as drafted, and I think that covers most of the topics. Any comments? Any thoughts before we put it out before the public and get some feedback?
No, I mean, it's a lot of disparate things, which is why we're doing them all together at one time. But we've had this kicking around for quite some time, so we have to, I think we should just move ahead with what we've got instead of trying to figure out every single thing that we might want to change or update.
Right. Right, and we're on the verge of starting an update to the comprehensive
Well,
plan,
that's-
and so anything that we have in here, if adopted, obviously, it's, you know, could be temporary. Well, zoning is always subject to change, isn't it?
Right.
The fluidity of such. So, but these are things that we've identified that we believe need to be tweaked or changed until such time. All right. We are on resolution 116. Okay, so should we be establishing our lead agency first before we do our public hearing? Let's see.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So let's go to we'll call it 116 then. And there's your use table, the highlights of things that are changed on that. Okay, so let's do, maybe we make 116 a resolution establishing the lead agency regarding Local Law D proposed of 2024. An EAF and CAF, or Coastal Assessment Form, have been prepared for this action. We've reviewed the thresholds, and after our examination, we've determined that there are no other involved or federal agencies on this matter. And since no other agency has approval authority with respect to the action, the town board declares itself lead agency for the review of this action. And be it further resolved that a determination of significance will be made at such time as all reasonably necessary information has been received by us to make that determination on its impact to the environment. So this is 116, establishing lead agency. You have a prepared EAF, which I know you've had a chance to review. Any questions about that, besides the fact that it's looking a little fuzzy in the contact information on the screen? Okay. Let's review, it is a matter of zoning. It does include the shoreline areas, and that's LWRP, so we're looking at its consistency with the LWRP. And obviously when it comes to some of the actions, this is not a construction or capital project, so it's not relevant. Okay. And there's our coastal management. There's just a coastal assessment, thank you, form CAF. And a description of the local law, again, as it relates to the LWRP. Removal of marinas. Okay. That's 116, establishing the town as lead agent. And I'll move that one. Who would like to second?
Second.
Thank you, Christine. All in favor? Jacob?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
All right, 117 is to establish a public hearing. Let's do this one at 8 o'clock, shall we, on 12/10? Do this one last. Oh no, I'm the wrong one. Who would like to make a motion to hold a public hearing December 10th at 8 o'clock?
So moved.
Thank you, William. Is there a second? Thank you, Christine. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, moving right along, let's go to that. That was 117. We're now looking at local law E proposed, and it relates to smoking. For the folks at home, just a brief synopsis. Essentially what the law says, proposed law says, is not only will we be prohibited, I can string a sentence, but not tonight. There'll be a prohibition against smoking and vaping, not only on town-owned properties, but also properties where we have public access. So for example, the portions of the trails on Cookingham or on the Sawkill trails that Winnicke owns, we don't own those lands, but we do have public access. So if you're walking on the trails, you won't be allowed to smoke on the trails. Makes sense, right? We have people walking through those trails, enjoying and for healthy reasons engaging in that activity. We don't want folks smoking on the trails as well, and obviously, as we've learned, there's a fire risk oftentimes associated with that. It does include vaping. Again, we're not making any judgments about whether somebody smokes or vapes, just to say that we, on public properties, and properties where there's public access, that we don't feel that's appropriate. Okay, another public hearing. Let's do 8:20 for this. How about that, on the 10th? This is our 4th or 5th public hearing for that night. I think we're up to quite a few. Smoking and vaping. Who would like to make a motion that we, and it does include cannabis, some language in cannabis as well. Who would like to make a motion, public hearing, 8:20, 12:10, going once, if you are in your 30s and you sit at the end outside.
So,
Thank you, Jacob.
I'll second.
You read my mind. All in favor, Christine?
Aye.
Thank you very much. And myself, aye. Okay, we are moving and grooving. Wow, are we at reports?
Yeah, we did.
How's that possible? We must know what we're doing here. Okay. All right. Department, board, and committee reports. If you are involved with building/zoning, would you please give us the highlights?
All right. This is obviously, this report is as of yesterday or the day before, in November, and we still have a few days left. But they issued 45 permits. They conducted 113 inspections, still very busy. They issued 44 either certificates of occupancy or certificates of completion. They received 5 complaints, and there were actually 2 violations, not one. They're in the report. It just, I don't know why it says 1, there should be 2.
Okay.
And our revenue that they generated was $15,593. So once again, they're very busy.
Terrific. We will, yes, we will. We want to underscore that because we're wrapping up a 9-month moratorium, which by all accounts had very little impact on slowing anything down, and the numbers just continue to flourish. We've had levels of growth here in Red Hook that are the highest since the post-IBM era in the 60s. Okay, and here's a long list that they provide us with of all
All the permits, all the inspections.
everything. And don't look at the list if you're looking at the screen because you'll get dizzy. Next up in the packet is the highway.
Yep.
Jacob.
Yes, so we have a report from Teresa. It includes 3 items. So the first one is winter parking regulations, which are in effect from November 15th until April 1st. That means no overnight parking on town roads between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m. If anybody has questions or wants more information about snow and ice policy, that's on the Highway Department page on the town website. There's an FAQ with helpful tips to avoid excess snow in driveways, where to place trash cans, and proper mailbox installation. So I'd encourage everybody to check that out before we get to the real cold weather. The next item is the Sauk Hill Bridge. So Hudson Valley Engineers Association has submitted the final design for the bridge to the Department of Transportation. The right-of-way consultant has completed title searches and is obtaining appraisals. The next step will be a detailed design of the plans with an estimate, right-of-way acquisition process that include making offers and acquiring the property. They're going to also finalize utility relocation agreements and obtain environmental permits. The plan is to complete this by late fall of 2025. Finally, Forest Park drainage. The Highway Department has procured the final materials needed to start the Shady Lane portion of the Forest Park drainage plan. Because there's been a wait for some of the features in the closing of the asphalt plants in November, the project will be postponed until spring 2025. Work will be done by the Highway Department crew, expected to take 2 to 3 weeks, weather and staffing levels permitting. That's everything from Teresa.
Well, that's too bad. It was nice and dry out there.
I know.
It's too bad the parts weren't available.
No need to drain anything at this point.
Well, true, but it's also a lot easier to work in
No, I know.
mud.
I know.
Okay, speaking of closing up,
Yep.
was it tomorrow? 22nd?
Some things are.
To Friday,
Right.
Friday.
So,
Friday we're closed.
some things are closed already, and so
Okay.
one of the very official signs of the end of the park season is the closing of bathrooms, which will happen on, this says the 15th, but the committee then voted to continue it to the
Extend it.
22nd. So that's this Friday.
Yeah.
And as you might imagine, a lot of the end of season cleanup and, draining water and checking batteries and all that sort of stuff is well underway. The picnic tables have all been moved under the pavilion, so it's really, we're getting ready for winter if it ever gets cold. Unfortunately, we are having incidents of early morning parties in the south parking lot. Which have been happening until around 2 in the morning. And, in one of these incidents, whoever it was, lit a fire in one of the trash cans that we had there. Dumped the garbage out to do that, so the garbage was all over, then they lit the fire. Ruined the garbage can at the very least, given the problems we're having with dry grass and stuff in the area. That was another whole issue there. We do have the security cameras there. We do have some evidence trying to figure out exactly who it is. But, again, if you have any ideas or you live near there and you see anything, please let us know. Please contact the police. As a sort of a follow-up to this, we've been collecting a lot of broken bottles and broken glass in the south parking lot, so please do be careful if you were driving your car in there. We're doing the best we can to keep up with it. As I mentioned, a lot of, getting the fields ready, last mowings, all that kind of thing. The committee is beginning to look at the equipment inventory for the rec park equipment. Many of their pieces of equipment have been, repaired beyond what was their intended life, way beyond. And so they're going to, look at what might have to be replaced coming forward. So, in our next budget round, we may hear from them on some of that. Just a reminder that we are going to have indoor pickleball for the winter. At the what used to be called the Eddie Parker Center near Upper Red Hook. So it's going to be Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. starting, well, it already started, the 18th, I forgot what day it is.
Started, yes.
And goes through until April 1st, 2025.
Yeah.
As Robert mentioned, there was a fire on the property owned by the Wakey Land Trust adjacent to the Sawkill Trail. And it did reignite, so it's a significant issue. So please, if you are using the trails, please refrain from smoking or any kind of, any type of thing that could start a fire. It is so dry up there. If you are part of a group that is using the synthetic field, please remember to close the gates when you leave. Unfortunately, we have routinely seen groups not close the gates and lock the gates when they're done. And then we have other people getting on the fields and hanging out and causing some problems. Now, while the tennis and basketball court lights have been turned off for the season, the tennis and pickleball nets will stay up for daytime play until the first snowfall.
Which is coming soon.
So they say.
Yeah.
So thank you to the rec park and our rec committee and our rec staff for another great season. Tremendous amount of work accomplished.
Very good.
Councilmember Kane and Supervisor,
Yes, ma'am.
do you want to potentially, by motion, request an extension of the Eddie Parker agreement? Because I believe it expires at the end of the year.
Yes, I believe did we already entertain
I
that?
thought we saw one.
I thought we did, but let's go ahead and just redo that. A motion to approve, extend the 2024 agreement and to approve it for 2025 with the additional days and hours. As you know, we had last winter, we had 3 days a week, and we had it for 5 hours, and now we're looking at 7 hours and 5 days a week, and we really want to thank the folks that maintain that facility for being so accommodating to our residents. We already have 118 people signed up, and it's just started. So, yes, by motion. I think I made that motion. Is there a second? Thank you, Christine. All in favor, those of you who know what pickleball is. Jacob.
Aye.
Julia.
Hi.
William.
Aye.
Thank you very much. I hope to get out there one of these days.
Me too.
Do you want me to do the Tree Preservation Commission report?
Oh, please.
I didn't mention the part of our play.
That's okay, I'll have that now.
Yes. Yeah.
Jacob, tell me how you've been running around watering all these trees in town.
Oh, that is the work of our great volunteers we have on the Tree Preservation Commission. It's not me yet.
Okay. Yes.
I know they keep inviting me for plantings, and sometimes I can't make it, which is unfortunate. So it'll be fun to get out and learn something.
Mhm.
So for the November report, the meeting earlier this week, the fall planting happened on November 8th and 9th. 10 trees were planted at Rec Park West. 1 tree was planted on Fruit Bud Lane. The committee wants to thank Michelle Decker for digging the planting holes. At this week's meeting, Zoe Evans, who's an ecological landscape designer, was introduced to the committee. She's interested in doing work and working as a volunteer consultant to the committee. I'm so excited to have that connection. The Tree City recertification application for this year has been submitted. Is awaiting final approval, so I'm sure we'll get that. That'll be a nice announcement at a future meeting. Finally, the committee will not meet in December, so this is going to be the last report for 2024. Thank you to the committee for all their work.
Thank you very much, and thank them for all the beautiful trees. Okay, correspondence we have from Dutchess County government. This was sent out to all the supervisors and mayors in the county that there is a local law number 2 of 2024, and what it seeks to do is to protect public water supply sources, aquifers, and wetlands from hazardous pollution. And so there is a resolution and a draft available. They are looking to establish new restrictions to protect these important water supplies. And now through the first quarter of 2025, they're conducting outreach meetings to outline the local law, solicit input, and receive feedback. I will be inviting them in my role as president of the county supervisors and mayors to all of the officials there, but it might be a good idea to have them come, one of our meetings and present for a few minutes to talk about what the effort is and how they plan to go about doing it. They want to implement it starting January 1 of 2026, or rather enforce it, I guess, because the law has passed. But the regulations, it sounds like, still in flux. And folks, that's all I have. We do need to entertain a motion to go into executive session to discuss a real estate matter under negotiation, the subject of which, if made public, could materially impact the purchase price. But before we do so, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We are here at the town of Red Hook very thankful for all of you out there, many of you who volunteer your time in one capacity or another. We wouldn't be able to have such a successful 2024 if it were not for all of you out there doing your part. So thank you, happy Thanksgiving. With that being said, I make that motion, we go into executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Christine. All in favor of Jacob?
Aye.
Julia?
Aye.
William?
Aye.
Good night, everyone.